There comes a time when a woman must stop hiding behind softness that weakens her spirit. Softness is beautiful when it nurtures, but destructive when it becomes an excuse for fear, dependency, or silence. A soft woman who bends for everyone eventually loses the shape of her own soul. This is not strength. It is surrender disguised as kindness. A strong woman does not harden her heart, but she guards it with wisdom. She learns that not everyone deserves her energy, her tears, or her endless forgiveness. To stop being soft is to stop giving your power to those who only take. It is the decision to protect your peace instead of begging for validation. When you stop being soft in the wrong way, you begin to grow in the right one. The world tests women every day through disrespect, disappointment, and doubt. You cannot control these things, but you can control how you rise from them. Each time you are challenged, you can either melt into weakness or forge yourself into something sharper. Strength is not a gift, it is a discipline. It is built each time you refuse to be broken. To stop being soft means to stop waiting for someone to save you. It means saving yourself. With your own two hands, with your own decisions, and with your own voice. You do not need permission to be powerful. You do not need approval to walk away. You do not need to explain why you chose peace over pleasing others. There is no strength in being angry at the world. True strength is quiet. It is calm, still, and unshaken. It is the woman who knows when to fight and when to stay still. It is the woman who carries herself with dignity even when others try to drag her down. When your emotions rule you, you become soft. When your mind leads your emotions, you become strong. Stop being soft in your goals. Discipline your days. Wake up with purpose. A soft woman says, I will do it tomorrow. A strong woman does it now. She understands that dreams without discipline are just wishes. And she knows that comfort is a trap that steals her growth. Stop being soft in your relationships. Love deeply, but with boundaries. Care for others, but never at the cost of yourself. A woman who cannot say no will never know the freedom of oas. Softness without limits becomes slavery. Strength with compassion becomes liberation. And finally, stop being soft with yourself. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for confidence to appear. Stop blaming the world. You are responsible for your own transformation. The fire you seek outside is already inside you. It only needs air, focus, and courage to burn. So rise. Straighten your back. Silence the voice that says, I am not enough. You are not here to be soft. You are here to be steady. Softness should be your grace, not your weakness. Strength should be your nature, not your mask. Remember, you can be gentle and still unbreakable. Softness is often mistaken for strength. Yet when it turns into a pattern of avoidance, it becomes a silent weakness. Many women confuse being gentle with being powerless, thinking that to be kind means to never resist, never say no, and never confront what feels wrong. This form of softness may appear noble on the surface, but deep inside, it drains confidence and weakens identity. A woman who constantly suppresses her truth to maintain peace loses the balance between compassion and self-respect. When softness is guided by fear, fear of rejection, conflict, or disappointment, it no longer uplifts, it imprisons. True strength lies not in rejecting softness altogether, but in mastering it. To be strong means to know when your softness serves you and when it sabotages you. It means allowing your heart to feel deeply, but never letting those feelings rule your direction. A woman with controlled softness knows when to speak firmly, when to walk away, and when to stay silent. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. She does not let others define her worth or exploit her kindness. She learns that protecting her peace is not cruelty, it is maturity. When softness becomes a shield to hide behind, it stops being beautiful. It teaches others that your limits can be pushed, that your forgiveness has no end, and that your silence means consent. The world will take as much as you allow, and the moment you start standing in your power, everything changes. Softness, without the strength to guard it, fades into submission. But when balanced with discipline, awareness, and courage, it transforms into a quiet force, one that bends without breaking and feels without falling. Emotional control is not about denying what you feel. It is about mastering the storm within you. Many people mistake emotional expression for emotional strength, but true power lies in calmness, in the ability to respond rather than react. When a woman allows her emotions to rule her, she becomes a puppet to circumstance, easily swayed by what others say or do. Her peace depends on the behavior of others, and her strength collapses the moment something disrupts her comfort. But when she learns to govern her emotions with awareness, she becomes steady like a mountain, unshaken by temporary winds, unmoved by chaos, and rooted in clarity. To control your emotions is to protect your energy from being wasted on what does not matter. Every outburst, every overreaction, and every uncontrolled response drains the strength you could be using to grow. A calm mind is a sharp weapon. It sees clearly when others are blinded by noise. Emotional control allows a woman to choose her battles wisely, to know when silence is power, and when words must cut through confusion like a blade. It is not coldness, but wisdom in motion. Through control, emotions stop being masters and become tools for focus, compassion, and resilience. Without control, emotions can make a woman appear fragile, constantly in need of validation or reassurance. But when she learns to sit with her feelings, without letting them take over, she builds an inner discipline that nothing external can destroy. Calmness does not mean the absence of emotion. It means emotion guided by purpose. It is the quiet confidence of a woman who no longer lets anger, sadness, or fear dictate her choices. Her peace is not borrowed from the world. It is built from within, unshakable and self-sustaining. Discipline is the foundation on which true resilience is built. It is the daily decision to act with purpose, even when motivation fades and comfort calls. Many people admire strength, but ignore the discipline that creates it. Strength is not born from easy days or fleeting bursts of inspiration. It is forged in moments of struggle, when quitting feels easier than continuing. A disciplined woman does not rely on mood or emotion to determine her effort. She relies on commitment. Every time she chooses consistency over comfort, she strengthens not only her will, but also her character. Resilience grows when discipline becomes a lifestyle, not a temporary act. The woman who trains her mind to stay steady under pressure becomes unbreakable. She understands that challenges are not meant to destroy her, but to refine her focus and deepen her patience. Through disciplined habits, waking early, keeping promises to herself, and pursuing her goals with persistence, she builds inner armor. Each disciplined action, no matter how small, becomes a step toward mastery. When life throws obstacles her way, she does not crumble. She adjusts, adapts, and keeps moving forward because she has trained herself to do so. Discipline also brings clarity to the path of growth. Without it, goals remain only wishes and dreams dissolve into excuses. A disciplined woman does not wait for the perfect moment. She creates it through action. She knows that resilience is not a sudden burst of courage, but the result of hundreds of small, deliberate choices. Through discipline, she transforms pain into progress and failure into lessons. Her strength is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, consistent, and deeply rooted in her daily practices. ChatGPT said protecting your energy is an act of self-respect and awareness. It means recognizing that not everyone deserves access to your time, emotions, or kindness. When a woman gives her energy freely to everyone, to people who drain her, to problems that aren't hers, and to situations that steal her peace, she slowly empties herself. Energy is a sacred currency, and where it flows determines what kind of life you live. Protecting it requires courage, the courage to step away from noise, to say no without guilt, and to prioritize peace over pleasing others. A woman who values her energy learns to stop explaining her boundaries. She simply lives by them. There will always be people who take more than they give, who feed off your empathy and offer nothing in return. If you do not protect your energy, you will end up exhausted, bitter, and confused about why you feel empty. Protecting your energy does not make you selfish, it makes you wise. It means understanding that your mental and emotional balance is your responsibility, not the world's. The moment you begin to protect it, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You begin to attract peace because you have chosen it, and that choice shapes every interaction and decision that follows. To protect your energy is to build a quiet strength within yourself, one that cannot be easily shaken by opinions, drama, or manipulation. It is a form of emotional maturity that separates what deserves your attention from what merely demands it. When you stop allowing others to drain you, you rediscover the focus, creativity, and clarity that come from inner stillness. A woman who protects her energy understands that her power grows in silence, her peace deepens in solitude, and her presence becomes magnetic when it is no longer scattered among those who do not value it. ChatGPT said, "Seeking validation from others is one of the most subtle ways a woman can lose her power." When your sense of worth depends on how others see you, you hand them control over your peace. You begin to shape your life around their expectations instead of your own truth. This constant need for approval creates a quiet desperation, the desire to be accepted, even at the cost of authenticity. It turns strength into performance and honesty into hesitation. A woman who lives for validation eventually forgets who she is when no one is watching. True confidence, however, begins the moment you stop chasing acceptance and start living from self-approval. When you stop seeking validation, you begin to trust your own voice. You no longer measure your worth through compliments or crumble under criticism. You realize that both praise and judgment are temporary echoes. They do not define the depth of your being. The woman who stands rooted in self-worth does not need to prove anything. She simply becomes what she knows she is. Her actions are guided by conviction, not comparison. She moves through the world with quiet certainty, understanding that confidence is not something to be shown, but something to be felt from within. Validation loses its grip when you build a relationship with yourself that is based on honesty and self-respect. You learn to recognize your growth, to celebrate your efforts, and to correct your flaws without shame. This self-assurance frees you from the exhausting cycle of people pleasing and self-doubt. It allows you to express yourself fully without the fear of being misunderstood or disliked. The woman who no longer depends on external validation becomes untouchable in spirit, calm in rejection, humble in success, and unwavering in her sense of worth. Taking responsibility for your own life is the turning point between weakness and empowerment. It means accepting that no one is coming to rescue you. Not a partner, not society, not luck. The moment you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems, you begin to see how powerful you truly are. Blaming others for your circumstances might bring temporary comfort, but it also keeps you trapped. Responsibility is not about guilt. It is about ownership. When a woman claims ownership of her choices, her actions, and her emotions, she reclaims control over her direction. She no longer views herself as a victim of life, but as the author of it. Taking responsibility also means facing your mistakes without fear or denial. Growth begins when you stop running from accountability and start learning from your decisions. Every wrong turn, every setback, and every disappointment becomes a lesson in disguise. The woman who takes responsibility does not waste time complaining about what went wrong. She focuses on what can be done next. She understands that every situation, whether pleasant or painful, offers her a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Through this mindset, she transforms challenges into stepping stones and failures into foundations for future success. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop seeking permission to evolve. You no longer wait for ideal circumstances or approval from others to move forward. Instead, you create your own opportunities with determination and discipline. Taking responsibility is not always comfortable, but it is liberating. It removes excuses and replaces them with action. A woman who owns her life stops relying on external forces to define her happiness. She becomes grounded, self-reliant, and unshaken by uncertainty because she knows that the power to change her reality has always been in her own hands. Setting firm boundaries in relationships is an act of self-love and emotional maturity. It is the recognition that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, attention, or heart. Many women are raised to believe that love means self-sacrifice, that being a good partner, friend, or family member requires constant giving without pause. But love without limits quickly turns into exhaustion. When you fail to set boundaries, people begin to take your presence for granted, and your kindness becomes an expectation rather than a gift. Boundaries are not walls built to shut others out. They are gates designed to protect your peace and preserve your energy. Having boundaries means understanding where your responsibility ends and another person's begins. It is knowing that you can care deeply for someone without losing yourself in the process. When a woman says no with confidence, she is not being harsh, she is honoring her own worth. Every time you allow someone to overstep your limits, you teach them that your comfort matters less than their convenience. Setting boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, especially for those who are used to pleasing others, but with time it becomes a natural expression of self-respect. It helps you create relationships that are built on mutual respect, not dependency or guilt. Strong boundaries transform the quality of your relationships. They attract people who value your strength and repel those who seek to take advantage of your softness. A woman who enforces her boundaries does not need to explain or justify them. Her consistency speaks louder than her words. She gives love freely, but she also demands accountability. Boundaries protect her from emotional chaos and keep her grounded in her identity. They allow her to love with clarity, to give without resentment, and to walk away from anything that tries to steal her peace. Transforming pain into growth is one of the most powerful abilities a woman can develop. Pain is not the enemy. It is a teacher in disguise. Every heartbreak, disappointment, or failure carries within it the seed of wisdom, but only if you are willing to face it instead of running from it. Many people waste their suffering by focusing on blame or self-pity, but those who turn inward and learn from it emerge stronger, wiser, and more centered. Pain reveals your limits, but it also shows you where your strength begins. It teaches you resilience, patience, and the value of self-understanding that no comfort zone ever could. Growth born from pain requires acceptance and reflection. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in mindset turns every wound into an opportunity for transformation. A woman who embraces this approach does not allow her struggles to define her, she allows them to refine her. Through pain, she learns to let go of illusions, people, and patterns that no longer serve her. The more she confronts her pain with awareness, the more she builds inner stability, a calm confidence that cannot be shaken by the ups and downs of life. Pain, when processed with wisdom, becomes the foundation of emotional maturity and spiritual depth. To transform pain into growth also means to use what once hurt you as fuel for purpose. The lessons drawn from struggle become the roots of compassion and strength. A woman who has faced suffering and chosen to rise from it carries a quiet power that cannot be imitated. She no longer fears challenges because she has already seen how they shape her into someone greater. Pain gives her perspective, gratitude, and clarity about what truly matters. Instead of breaking her spirit, it sharpens it, turning vulnerability into courage and wounds into wisdom that guides her path forward. Action is the true measure of strength, and waiting for the right moment is often the greatest form of self-sabotage. Many women spend years preparing, planning, or dreaming, but never take the step that transforms thought into reality. They wait for confidence, for motivation, or for a sign, yet these things only appear once you begin. The woman who chooses action over hesitation learns that progress is born not from perfection, but from persistence. Every small effort, every uncomfortable decision, every forward step builds momentum. Waiting feels safe, but it steals time. Acting feels risky, but it builds strength. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do now, not what you promise to do later. Dreams demand discipline, not delay. Without action, even the most powerful vision fades into regret. A disciplined woman understands that the path to success is rarely easy or convenient. It is built through consistency when enthusiasm runs dry. She does not wait for ideal conditions because she knows they rarely come. She creates them through determination. Each day she chooses to act. No matter how small the step, she strengthens her resilience and self-belief. Procrastination is often disguised as preparation, but action, even imperfect action, is what transforms potential into reality. The act of showing up for yourself daily is itself a declaration of strength and self-respect. A woman who chooses to act learns that motion brings clarity. Through action, she discovers what works, what doesn't, and who she truly is. It is through doing that she builds the wisdom, confidence, and courage she once thought she lacked. Each challenge faced in motion becomes a lesson that stillness could never teach. When she stops waiting for permission and begins to move with purpose, she aligns her life with her own power. Action becomes her language of strength, not loud or boastful, but steady, persistent, and unstoppable. Being gentle but not weak is a balance that defines true inner strength. Gentleness is often mistaken for fragility, yet it takes immense power to remain kind in a world that constantly tests your patience. A gentle woman does not respond to cruelty with cruelty, but neither does she allow herself to be used or diminished. Her calmness is not submission, it is control. To be gentle without being weak means to choose peace without becoming passive, to speak with kindness without losing authority, and to extend compassion without sacrificing self-respect. This form of strength radiates quietly, it does not shout, but it is deeply felt by everyone around her. Weakness yields to pressure, but gentleness bends and returns stronger. The woman who understands this balance knows that she can express empathy while still holding firm boundaries. She can forgive without forgetting her worth. Her gentleness comes from understanding, not ignorance, from wisdom, not fear. When she walks away from chaos, It is not because she is afraid to fight, but because she knows her energy is too valuable to waste on what does not serve her peace. This type of control requires courage, for it takes strength to remain calm when the world expects anger, and to remain kind when others choose bitterness. Gentleness combined with strength creates an aura of quiet confidence that no aggression can match. It allows a woman to influence without forcing, to lead without dominating, and to love without losing herself. She does not need to prove her power because it is evident in her composure. Her voice carries weight not through volume, but through clarity. In a world that often glorifies hardness and ego, her calmness becomes a rare form of defiance, a sign that she has mastered both her emotions and her ego. Her gentleness is her grace, and her strength is her anchor, allowing her to face life's storms with dignity and unwavering poise. So, to every woman listening, remember this: strength was never about hardness, and softness was never about weakness. It is about balance, the harmony between your heart and your will. The world does not need you to be cold to survive, nor endlessly giving to be loved. It needs you to stand in your truth, calm, grounded, and aware of your worth. Do not apologize for your power. Do not dim your fire to make others comfortable. Be gentle but unyielding. Be kind but firm. Be compassionate but never foolish. The strength of a woman is not in how much she endures, but in how wisely she chooses what to endure. Rise each day with discipline, move with intention, and speak with courage. Protect your peace, own your choices, and let your actions reflect your inner strength. You are not here to be soft in a world that tests your spirit. You are here to be steady, unbreakable, and awake. The moment you stop being a soft woman in the wrong way is the moment you become the strongest version of yourself.